Right. Any questions about Ma'asul?
שמע, וכל ההיסטוריה בכלל מראה שאתה מספר אותה כאילו זה הכל ירידות לצורך עלייה.
Well, it is. Everything. Well, everything is always going down to be able to go back. Yeah. So every single thing that we've been through has had a purpose that we grow from, we learn from, and we've discussed this on different topics of like what's the purpose of all of these reasons. But in a way, we need to go as a nation. Well, I would say let's start with the first one for 1 second, just so people have this always in the back of their mind. Why doesn't Hashem, give us the Torah without needing to be slaves? Right? He says you need to go and be slaves. You need to go and suffer before you can get the Torah. Why does Hashem not just give us Egypt? Right? He could have just killed off all the Egyptians and said, here you go. Why does he take us out of there, then make us walk through the desert to get to Israel? Right? And both of them sort of answer the same thing. There's a growing process that we need to go through. Whether you need to be enslaved so you can know what it means to worship God, or you need to have that kind of relationship that in Egypt it's too easy to. There's always water in the Nile, right? But if you go to a place where you need to pray, you have that relationship. Right? So both of them kind of build us into, Hashem says, you need to go through some really tough times so you can be my nation, so that we can have this relationship. And every single one of these, we learn something from, we become something, and there's a lot to discuss, but we will leave that for another time.
But Rabbi, which father can make his son to go through?
I would say like this, you're looking at it in a very, very narrow mindset, okay? Now, I'm not for a second taking off any of the responsibility from God of all of the things that were bad and hard that we went through. I'm not taking away for a second the pain that we suffered, okay? On individual levels or as a nation. All of these things are terrible. But I want you to zoom out for a second because we refer to ourselves as a nation that's basically one person. Ki'ish echad belev echad, like one person with one heart. Okay? That is how we are. Which is why we care so much about other Jews in other places of the world. Right? You're from Congo. If you hear that there was someone in Australia that's from Congo that was in a car accident, do you get like emotional about it? Does it bother? Right? It's like, what difference does it make? Right? There's millions of people from Congo. I don't know him. He's not my family. We're not even from the same place in Congo, right? He was on the other side of the world in an accident, okay? When a Jew hears that there was a synagogue that was shot, that there was a terrorist attack somewhere, that there was Jews that were killed in a plane crash, right? It hurts because we're family, right? That is very, very, very powerful. As a nation, think of us as one person, okay? Now, think of a little kid that is running towards the street. And there's a truck coming, and the truck is going to kill him. There's no way away from him. So you as the father, grab the kid's arm and pull him as fast as you could, as strong as you could, to save his life, right? But in the process, you dislocate his shoulder, right? And he's screaming from pain, okay? And his eyes are filled with tears. He doesn't even see that the truck was there, okay? He's not aware of what was going on. So the kid looks at you and says, what kind of father hurts his kid? I need to go to the hospital now. You hurt me so badly, right? What kind of father does that? And you as the father say, you have no idea what I just saved you from, okay? You have no idea. That's the harsh part of it. The second part is, as a parent, okay, I push my kids. I make them do things that are hard for them because I want them to be able to succeed. If you let your kids do whatever they want all the time and you let them just like, it's hard for you, don't do it, your kids will be weak. And when they leave your house, they will suffer, right? Hashem takes us and says, let's go with Abraham. Abraham, you need to now go and start a nation. How are you going to do that? Well, here I'm going to give you a bunch of challenges. Those challenges aren't easy. Okay? He goes through them. Yitzchak, you're going to need to stand your ground. Let me see that you can handle. Here are your challenges. Yaakov, let's see that you can handle this. The tribes, can you handle these things? The nation just keeps on growing, but the challenges are always there. Okay? We need to go through certain things that are painful to be able to grow. Okay? I don't know God's calculations about everything or about anything, right? That's not my business. Okay? I'm also not here as God's advocate. God can advocate for himself. I'm not here to advocate for God. I'm going to say it like this. Everything that we've been through is necessary. The end result is necessary. Sometimes we could have saved ourselves a lot of pain if we were on the right path to begin with. Okay? If you weren't running into the street, I wouldn't have to pull your arm. But because you ran into the street, I had to. In the end of the day, we need to cross the street. We need to get to the supermarket. We need to go there. Okay? But you'll either go there in pain or we'll go there nicely. You'll either go there and we'll get a sweet, right? Or we'll go there and we'll get a Band-Aid, right? But we need to get there anyway. So how's the path? How much are you going to resist? How much are you going to fight what's supposed to happen? So when we're looking at all of the history, okay, we said it a few times, every single place in Maoz Tzul starts out with saying, here was what was rough, and then Hashem saves us. Here it got rough again, and then Hashem saved us. Now we're just waiting for you to save us from this crusade because it's painful. Because right now we're being persecuted and we're being slaughtered. Where are you? We know. Now we know the crusade's finished. Okay? By the way, right now, the Christians are one of our biggest allies in the world. That's unbelievable. It's something that you would have told someone 100 years ago, they would have laughed at you. They wouldn't have believed that it was possible that we would have Christians as allies. It's unbelievable, right? So things have a way of working out, and everything there's a reason for them to happen. When you're looking like this, it's very hard to see the big picture. It's very hard to see what's going on and why is it happening and why is it happening to me? That's every generation's question. Everyone always says, but why am I suffering? Okay? Figure it out. What are we doing wrong? Why can we do better? What is the goal? Why aren't we aiming to get to that goal in a proper way? Right? Why are we being stubborn? Moshe Rabbeinu says this about us. He says, you are a stubborn, hard-necked nation. And God says, yes, they're a very stubborn nation. Right? It's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing to be Jewish. That's why we don't encourage people to go through conversion. It's not easy. Right? So we don't try to convert people. We say, be who you are. Don't try to change everything because everybody hates us and everyone's persecuting us. And this has happened since the Egyptians. Right? So when I'm looking at everything, I say, I want it to be, I want the painful part to finish as quickly as possible so I can understand why I went through it. And how do I make the painful part finish as quickly as possible? Learn the lesson that it's supposed to be teaching you. Why were we exiled to Bavel? Because we were worshiping idols, right? Why were we by the Greeks? Why were we persecuted by the Persians? Every single one of them, there's a reason behind. Okay? We need to figure out what it is. We need to figure out what we're doing wrong. In the Quran, it says that they're not allowed to attack Jews. Okay? It says, you're not allowed to hurt Jews. They are a nation of the book. They're Muslim enough. But if they leave Torah Moshe, if they no longer are following the mitzvahs, then it is our responsibility, a religious responsibility, to put them back on track. To kill them, to do whatever you want, to get them back on track. And people are going, why are we fighting with the Muslims? Why can't, why is all this happening? And you say, well, are we living a religious life? Are we doing things in the right way? Because they're doing exactly what they are supposed to do according to their religion. They're supposed to attack us and put us on the right track if we leave that track. Right? So even the other nations are telling you why they're doing it. And we're too stupid to listen. Okay? So there's like that stubbornness. But God willing, we're getting to the end of we finished our period with the Christianity, which was 2,000 years. Okay? We finished that. There is no exile of Islam, that Ishmael exiles us. We need to deal with him because it has to do with the land of Israel. That's a whole different thing. But we're at the end, we're at the Geulah, we're at the time of Mashiach. We need to appreciate that, but we also need to prepare ourselves for it. We need to know what that means, right? So, we spread light. Yes?
I think I have a problem here. Esau and Jacob never one had to be top of the other.
Correct.
My question is, was any time that the Jews were above the Romans?
Is there any time that we are above them?
Yeah.
So there's basically 4 different situations. There's the voice of Yaakov, the hands of Esav, the voice of Yaakov, the hands of Yaakov, the voice of Esav, the hands of Esav, and the voice of Esav, the hands of Yaakov, right? And there are different elements, because Yitzchak, when he's blessing, he says the hands are the hands of Esav and the voice is the voice of Yaakov, right? So when we know how to fight and we know how to pray, that is the ideal situation, right? And we are now in a place where Christians, like, we see this in Kenya, right? We see this all over Africa. I get questions from people who say, we're coming to seek the truth from you, right? That's an unbelievable thing. This is not the first time that this has happened in history. Okay, we have this in the Gemara that even the Christian leaders in Rome were asking our rabbis what are they supposed to do from a place of truth. Okay, so it did exist. But whenever we lose the voice of Yaakov and we don't know what we're doing, we're not acting properly, then Esav becomes stronger. And now it's just like we're finishing that kind of relationship with Esav, and we're getting sort of our rightful place of in that relationship of Yaakov and Esav, of the respect of that we are Yaakov. Okay? It's not that we're supposed to rule the world. Okay? It's not the Jewish ideal, right? We're supposed to lead by example, behavior, all that's fine. But it's not that we're supposed to enslave the Christian world, right? That doesn't exist in Judaism, right? We're not supposed to exile the Christians. We're supposed to know how to lead Esav, to say, you had a hard time, right? We didn't always get along as brothers, but now let's work on this together, right? And right now there is a lot of very good connections between Jews and Christians around the world that haven't existed, and that's a very, very, very powerful thing. And now again, we're dealing with Islam, not with Christianity. Right?
That's the anti-Semites, that they use that same, like they want, like the Jews want to rule the world. It's like the argument.
Again, the anti-Semitic claims that have been throughout history have always been, we need to hate Jews for a reason, right? Let me find what it is. Can it be religious? Can it be, right now, like the world hates us because we have Israel, right? Because it's not politically correct to be a Nazi and just hate Jews for being Jews, okay? But people hated us for being an ethnic group, for being a religion, for not being a religion, for being this, for being that. Everybody had found some reason to hate us, right? Now we're in a place where we have our own lands, we have our own government, we get to stand up proud and say, it's okay if you hate us. I believe I'm strong enough that it's okay if you don't like me. I don't need you to like me.
If Jews don't get the leadership, then how are they going to be an example for the rest of the world?
I think it's happening by default now. Again, like, I don't think that Jews need to run the world to have leadership, right? I think that right, like the way that people ran the world back then was there was empires, and empires were powerful, and they dictated what the law is. So in Israel, we're supposed to govern for all those who are not Jews what it means to live an ethical life. The Noahite laws: don't kill, don't steal, don't commit adultery, believe in one God, don't worship idols, don't eat parts of living animals, and create justice systems to uphold these things. That's it, right? Like, that's what is expected from everyone. But the world is always looked at us under a microscope, right? Like, look at what's going around the world now. The whole world can be up in flames. Every single day, Israel's in the news, okay? We have fought the most ethical war on planet Earth in the history of the world, okay? We have sacrificed our own children to protect the enemy, okay? And we are still public enemy number one. Why? Because everyone's always looking at us under a microscope to see how we behave, which means you don't need to rule people already are looking to see, well, how should we behave, right? And are very critical about Jews for it. But again, our job is to spread light. And that's what Hanukkah is for, to spread more light in the world.
The last question
Yeah.
I said is, since we're in Hanukkah and it's Rosh Chodesh,
Yeah.
we still